All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back, and we are better than ever. How you doing,
Yeah,
Trey?
I'm good. Did we have to pay off someone just so we can continue the show?
No, actually, it was kind of like one of those little it was like a shoe, but like not a shoe. It was one of those like wedding crasher things,
Okay.
or a not a wedding crasher. It's the other one, Night to Roxbury.
Okay.
We're caught off guard. It was sort of the one that's like me, you, me, and there was truth be told, and I'll give you a little insight right now, but of course, like we're trying to be accommodating everybody else. There was actually a bunch of kids
Okay.
that were just off here on the corner,
Yeah.
and they have a really strict no smoking, no vaping policy,
Yeah.
like in and around this area and a lot of these events. And I guess they were like ducking in and out, sort of doing their
Mm,
little thing. So kudos to the NFL security, NFL staff over
yeah.
here. But obviously, you can sort of body language people,
Yeah.
and you're like, was it me? Was it you? Quick, kind of,
Yeah.
clearing the spaces. So, everything is good. All good in the hood.
That's good.
Everything great. So yes, but like getting back to the conversation, right? Like we just heard Baldy a couple minutes ago. He was going over the speaker while we're getting back on, and it's like you take the best available player
Oh yeah.
when you get to some of these positions. Like you have a need. There's a guy that's there.
Yeah.
Don't outthink it. Don't try to create something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You see the talent, you take the talent, and it is a crapshoot, right? I mean, you're basically drawing straws. Like there's a couple guys here every year, top end of the draft. We talked about this. They're talents. Like you got it. Like you pretty much you can't almost plug and play them, but you can plug and play these guys, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like some people you can, but it's also like you have to develop these kids. Like
That's it.
I always go by this. Like when you look at the Eagles when they dropped Jalen Carter, it's like this guy's a project, but
Yep.
he looks finished, but he needs to mature. It's like they're gonna hit the rookie wall anyways, and that's
For
what
sure.
happened anyway. So it's like you gotta know when they're good, and because the thing is half these college kids have never played 16, 17 games before.
That's right.
That's the thing, which is like you usually do like 12 games a year. Those extra 5, you kind of have to rely on either like you don't burn these kids out quickly,
Right.
or you may have the veterans take over. So
Yep.
it all depends what you draft anyways. That's what I always feel. So
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And we talked about this at the top of the show before you jumped on that. You know, along with them getting used to the schedule of there being more games,
mm-hmm.
the mentality that comes along with a professional endeavor, and we're getting this a lot now because with the advent of the NIL,
Mm-hmm.
while it sort of kills the amateurism, it does let you know how
Mm-hmm.
this guy, how this girl is going to respond when they're actually met with, okay, you got a big paycheck now.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do with it? Are you going to sit
How
on
are
the
you to
beach?
save your money? It's like I always feel like this is the biggest thing we have to these draft kids. Like,
Right. Yeah.
like
Are
this,
you going to bank this money? Are you going to use it, or are you just going to sit there and be like, I got this, I got the bag. I'm going to go live my best life. I'm going to give you 20% over here. Why? Well, because I worked my butt off my whole life to get to this point. And like I said,
Mhm.
I'm not turning this into a, rag on the NFL because the draft is dead, needs to be celebrated, and it does need to be celebrated. But I feel like you were saying earlier that like you need to go in eyes wide open,
Yeah,
right? Like that's a definite component of your evaluation process when you start to line up these players. Because in the past, you would have been grateful for whatever had come along,
yeah.
right? Give
They
me
get
that
the scholarship.
contract, right?
It's a grateful thing. Anyways, like the scholarship, and if you get NIL money, like how like I always question like half these kids coming out of college. I was like, we've got all this NIL money. Is like, did you save it? Because I feel like
Right.
the money management has always been the biggest thing. Well, because you see so many players go broke, and I
Yeah.
feel like when you like, I'm hoping like these NLI stuff is like teaching like, hey, this is how you use your money correctly. You
Yeah.
don't do the wrong thing, anyways.
Yeah, and then that's it. You get a taste of that success, and these guys are definitely going to get a humongous taste. You've already seen leading up into the draft. There's been countless prospects that have already got deals.
Yeah.
People repping insurance companies, people repping car companies, people repping, big brand names, and this is a new beast when it comes to like the modern athlete, and
Hmm.
specifically with the NFL because we know the NFL like they are the big brother,
Agree.
right? Like the NFL, they are the big brother. They are the billion-dollar brother. They're the ones that everybody will flock to no matter where you're at. Small town Green Bay, New York City.
Yeah.
Like people will show up for the NFL. And it's life changing moments, and we always worry and caution ourselves like when you have these life changing moments, like how you geared for it, right?
Yeah,
Because now, like, not only do you got to be ready for it, but whoever's taking you on and asking you to perform, at your highest level and use the talents and the God given abilities that you have, like, okay, now there's a little more onus that needs to come along with what you're doing for me. Like, okay, prove it to me now.
yeah. I feel like
Like don't show up with a name. Don't show up with a little bit of a skill set. Like the Travis Hunter stuff, that's amazing. That's great. Could he play both ways? I'm sure he could. In reality, it it will run its course. You can't do that.
agree. Like
Not in the NFL. I
no,
can't be a monster truck and a Ferrari.
no. Like the monster truck Ferrari thing is an impossible thing. Like there's only so many people who could do it. Like Deion Sanders had a set group of plays.
That's
He
it.
was not out there every snap.
No,
Charles Woodson had a set amount of snaps if you want to play on offense.
that's right.
And then he pretty much like, I'm gonna stay on defense no matter what. It's like help out the defense.
Yeah.
Like you have to pick a side, and it's a big thing. Like look at Shohei Ohtani. He could do both ways as long as he wants. But honestly, he will have to choose a side one day because two Tommy Johns ain't great anyways.
No, it's not. It's not great, right? And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. That we're living in this age where you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you're like, guess what? I'm done. I'm out. I'll try something else. I'm just going to be doing this. But the time that you stay away from, like, really perfecting that craft in this particular aisle or in this particular lane,
Mm-hmm.
it obviously loses a little bit of the efficiency and a little bit of like the level of excellence that you get to. If some kind comes in and he's like, look, I'm just going to work on route running, you're going to
Thinking
become
like
a
the
more
Mule
professional
almost.
wide receiver, right? But if you're trying to do that and play nickel coverage, do that and play, like, are you an athlete? Yeah, that's great. But again, not ripping on Travis Hunter. It's just ripping on the fact that when you take on these players, when you draft these individuals, you have to be willing to now take along so much more.
Agree.
So much more.
I don't think there's some organization can do it. Some organizations I just don't trust it all anyways.
Yeah.
It also
And,
depends. Like if Travis Hunter, if he drops to New England,
Mhm.
how is he going to handle being pretty much the biggest star? What do you say?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Vrabel is like, you could do your thing, but I'm putting a set amount of plays on offense anyways. Because body, like, I know the body loves contact,
Sure.
but that's a lot of mileage. Like it's like almost like a high mileage like sports car, which they don't do go over like a certain amount of miles.
Right. And you're talking about a difference between, coming from Jacksonville State, then going to Colorado, you have a little bit of weather, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. I understand Colorado, obviously, with the snow. But now you're going to go to New England.
Mm-hmm.
Wet, rainy, cold,
Also,
damp.
the face of the franchise, pretty much next on the defense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, next to Drake May. I mean, like, those two guys right next to each other, right? Like, all right, could it be a great combo? Sure, it could be. We'll talk about different teams, different players all day. But finding that right guy, that right fit for your team, and wanting them to be something, and them actually wanting to do that for you, two different things. Jalen Hurts, a famous quote there recently, right? He's like, I won the Super Bowl. I guess I'm the face of the NFL, Super Bowl MVP, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to be facing NFL, but he's sort of pressed into that role, whether he likes it or not. Now, all eyes are going to be on him because the minute that he messes up, the minute that he says something out of the line, right? Yeah, I mean, it's a
slippery slope.
It's very slippery slope. It's a very fickle beast of the way that this thing works nowadays. And again, like, I feel like these are the conversations a lot of times, like on these momentous days where we want to stop and we want to celebrate everyone, which we should. I feel like I hope you like. I'm saying this because I hope you had these conversations prior to like these sort of adventures. It's like, hey, you're going to switch jobs. Hey, you're going to get out of a relationship. Hey, you're going to take on a new career thing. Hey, you're going to go train for this, blah, blah, blah. All right. Have you really done all of the homework? Because it looks great on paper.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an awesome fit. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But did you think that, hey, trying to take 2 classes a semester is going to turn into, wow, it's going to be a lot of nights. It's going to be a lot of writing. It's going to be a lot of, me not doing some of the things that I want to do, right?
Yeah.
Or, hey, you want to go and you want to cover games, do this, do that. Well, guess what? That's going to come at a cost. That's going to come with travel. It's going to come with less sleep. It's going to come with busy work. And it's like people see all of these great things, right? But like, who then? What's the metal of that person and the character of that person that you're bringing on board? Like, all right, if you're telling me that you're going to give me X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to give you A, B, and C, and we're actually going to work together,
Hmm.
okay, great. But now, like I said, I caution everyone because the mentality has switched so much to that at very minimal levels of execution and performance, people get a little bit of a carrot dangled in front of them, and they think they've like peaked,
Yeah.
and they don't need to do anymore.
Yeah, like Carson Wentz almost. Like when you looked at like he had that almost MVP type season and pretty much fell off a cliff when he didn't want to listen to coaching anyways.
Yeah,
So
it's like I don't know. It's so great day. Fans are rolling in. It is
a lot of
right
Eagle
now.
fans. How many? What's the ratio of like? How many fans have you seen so far? Is it a lot of Packer fans, pretty much?
Oh yeah, like right now it is full up, as we would say in the Midwest.
Okay.
Full up with Packer fans. I mean, Packer fans they show up, man. And I've
Oh
got
no.
jerseys from Reed to Love to Favre. I've seen a Dom Magic Magowski jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, way, way, way back. But they love their team. They love their town. Good, wholesome people.
Wholesome
Good,
Midwesterners.
wholesome Midwesterners, man. I mean, like, no, no drama. Nothing crazy. No Birds fans running around. No West Coast Charger fan, Oakland, Vegas Raider fans. Throwing down fights. None of that stuff.
No Niner fan doing some stupid stuff already.
No, and actually, that is like I have been looking for Niners fans,
Yeah.
and I have not seen a Niners fan yet.
That is surprising. Like, have
Yeah.
you seen Cowboy fans yet?
I've seen 2 Cowboy fans.
Did you ask them what part of Texas they're from?
No, I didn't.
That's what you got to. That's what I've been starting to
Gotta
do. Like,
ask
what part of Texas are you from? Capo? Or are you from Fresno or Frisco at least?
Like, where are you?
What suburb of Dallas are you from?
Yeah, exactly. What part of Dallas are you not from?
Yes.
I'm from Philly, Westchester. I'm from Philly, Norristown. I'm from okay. Not to make it the Northeast conversation, but yeah. But yeah, so huge day. Everything's kicking off. NFL One Pass app has just about every single event for the fans walking in today.
There we
I
go.
went through it, and stickers and photos and a little bit of badges that you can win or whatever. Seen a couple Dolphins fans.
Okay.
Nice. I mean, they're representing a little bit. The Midwest teams obviously are selling out a lot.
It's an easy travel to commute for any of the Midwest teams, especially.
Very easy travel for me for them. Couple Eagle fans.
Okay, that's good.
Nice. I saw an Eagles Green Bay couple earlier.
nice.
I kind of gave them that little look, like how.
Hey, it could be worse,
No, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe it was like a Rasul Douglas or Monte Maddox marriage. I don't know what it was, but it's
Could be the Antonio Freeman jersey.
could have been Antonio Freeman.
Could have Antonio Freeman and like a Javon Walker jersey. Come on.
It could have been. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause we talked about this a little while ago about the uniforms or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I keep seeing now, like, because it's in my face in real time, the logo.
Yeah.
Like Green Bay's logo and their uniform. Like, it looks really good, man. Like the color contrast is really, really good.
It's stand up to the test of time, anyways.
Yeah, it's completely. It's like I always felt like I kind of writ it off. I was like, like it's there. Like it was one of those like the Yankees. Like it's been there for so long
Yeah.
that you just kind of like it's like when you're driving, you see a stop sign.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to look because you know the stop sign's there. You know what
Mhm.
it says. You know what it looks like. But you step back a second, and you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
You kind of get a little more appreciation of it. And just shout out.
It's an all-time logo. It's like when you see it, it's like it works well on the back of a car.
Oh yeah.
It's a good magnet or a decal on like anywhere. Anyways, it's like
Yeah, definitely.
people may ask like, is that a Green Bay logo or is it a Georgia Bulldogs logo?
Oh, Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
So let me say before we get too far gone, any big moves or any big splashes you see happening tonight? Like you want to go out on a limb, you want to go crazy, or you just kind of it's gonna be chalk top half.
I don't know what's gonna happen on it. I'm going in how I've like this draft. I've just gone like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna react to it.
Yeah.
We will also like react to it on the pod how we all feel about it. Like some picks is like, I just don't know what's gonna happen after 4. Honestly, I want to see what happens. I want to see if anything crazy moves happen. I think the true intrigue is what Miami's gonna do. Dallas. Those are my big ones. Like, there's some obvious ones. Like, what are the Jets gonna do? Like, I always feel intrigued, but I always feel like what's gonna happen to the top 4. So I feel like that's the most. That's where all the talent's at in the draft. Then it's a crapshoot. I feel
It
like I
is.
want
It
to know
is.
what I want to know what the Giants' plan of attack is. The Patriots' idea. I want to know what Cleveland's thinking too. Also, that's how I view it. It's like I want to see what they're thinking because we all know what Tennessee's doing. I want to see what Cleveland, the Giants, Patriots are going to do. Anyways,
Yeah, lots of talk about Cleveland either just staying home and going with Hunter, or maybe just maybe
mm-hmm.
trying to mortgage that into two first, maybe go down, come back into the draft at the
I
end
don't
of
know
the first
who will
round.
give them the two first. Is the questions like when I look at it, I don't know who will do that.
Yeah, I mean, short of Howie's saying we'll take everybody and we'll give you everything that you need. Give us Miles Garrett, take his contract anyway, which they've locked him up. I don't know, like I don't see, just like you, a lot of movement there below like that 8-9 pick.
Yeah,
Maybe something comes up and gets you, but pretty much Carter, Genty, Hunter, Ward, uh, Warren, like they're gonna come off the board. Boom, boom,
yeah.
boom, boom, boom. And after that, it's like, all right, you need
I'm
something.
kind of
What do
like
you need?
I'm kind of treating this draft like the 2013 draft almost.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
I
just
think
don't know what's going to happen. Really, it's like they didn't have a quarter. There was no big quarterback. It was like who's the best offensive lineman, which we all know it's not the sexiest first overall pick, but it's like you got it. Like that's how I viewed it. Plus the Eagles are top three. It's like everyone's like, do you want the end or offensive line? We did the right thing, get the offensive lineman. So I just want to make sure people know what they're doing, because I feel like 2 and 3, I just don't know what they're doing, honestly. Because we all know
no,
the Giants are in the biggest hot seats of hot seats with Shane and Dayball, and Cleveland's Cleveland.
yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. This has been one of the. I'm not going to say. I don't want to call it uneventful because
Yeah,
It's going to turn into like 6 trades in the first round now tonight.
that
But
happens like crazy.
right, it does happen like crazy, right? Because there's. I say that in jest, but at the same time, because there's no clear cut guy
Yeah,
in that meat of the draft, right? That 9 to 15, 9 to 20. I mean, I know teams have their guys. Like I'm not trying to crap on what teams want and what teams need and how teams have graded. But in the past, you've gone up and down some of these drafts. You're like, man, 21 out of the first 30 guys taken, they're
hmm
still playing.
yeah,
Like these are guys that they're showing up. They're there every weekend. They good solid pick.
yeah.
You know, not saying that the talent's not there nowadays, but for being at the draft, right? The buzz outside of those 5 names,
hmm
4 names, not like no one is. I don't know. No one is beating the drum about them. Like, oh, you can't wait till this guy gets up.
hmm
Can't wait till they till see how far like Milrow falls.
Yeah,
Oh, Jackson Dart, he's going to be surprised, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay. I mean, you can kind of see and gauge it by there's 15 guys that they invited. Well,
hmm
17, now it's down to 15 guys who are actually showing up, right? I mean, like, that kind of gives you an idea. Like, 50% of the first round is, like, here,
yeah,
right? Now, I know there's draft parties, and this is where it goes back to the NIL things again, right? These guys are now, they've got sponsorships. They're at home. They're
hmm
having draft parties. Brought to you by dot 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 dot. This is good, but in some sense, this is the new world that you live in, right? This is the
yeah.
new age of the draft, and I think you look at it.
How you look at it, it all depends what
I want to
people
sound
are
bad.
doing, anyways.
Yeah, I don't want to sound bad. It's going to sound bad. Like you walk into the showroom in your car shopping,
Yeah,
right? And you're like, all right, I just need a really dependable person. I've got a decent spot to draft in. I don't want to waste it. What can I get for my money?
yeah.
Right? I
What
mean,
can what
this
deal can
draft
I get?
isn't. Yeah, what deal can I get? Right? Like this draft isn't full of Nolan Smith and a Josh Sweat or a Luke Kuechly's or a Watt brother. Like they're just not there.
Yeah,
Right? Even when you look deeper down in the drafts, you're like potentially this guy has good grades at. But then again, where are they going? Who's coaching them?
yeah.
What is their mentality? What's their mindset? Are they going to be willing to, make these changes if it calls them? When I say like you can't play outside linebacker, you need to play edge. You need to play in. Da 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 da. we see it happen every year. There's changes. There's surprises in the draft. I think what the under over is at like 3.5 trades.
Okay.
I think in the first one, sometimes it's 3.5, 4 trades. It's fluctuating, constantly with stuff. I really could say it, man. I really feel like I'm gonna sit down tonight. We're gonna start, banging out these picks, and it's gonna be, with the seventh pick in the draft, blah 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 blah, trades to da 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 for so and so. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, like we know the Raiders would really like to go and get Genty. Like,
Yeah,
they
I don't think
want,
they're going
right?
to trade up. I don't think they're dumb unless they're going to do something crazy. Like,
Right, but like Jacksonville's not going to want to give that up.
is New
Right,
England going to give that up?
Right. That's New England. Right, does New England give up? Right, like, okay, what can we do? What can be worked? Who knows who? And there is a lot of politics that go on between the owners and who owes who a favor. And of
Yeah.
course, there's the little trendy stuff now that there's a couple NFL GMs who aren't going to pick up the phone from the 215 area code because
Yeah,
how he's going to fleece them. Blah 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 blah. We could probably just say it's the Giants.
yeah.
We don't need any smoke and mirrors,
No,
any crystal ball to say it's that. But it happens every year, right? Every year you come in, it's like, this is the best draft ever. This is the most versatile class. These are the players. Blah, 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 blah. And honestly,
that's what I always say. Cool,
yeah, cool. Yeah, like check back in 2 years, check back in 3 years, and let's
Talk
see
me
how
in 4
this
years.
all. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's get to these rookie contracts and let's see what happens. But again, great celebration of these young men's lives.
It's a good weekend. It's a good weekend for the league. You'd see new prospects and stuff.
Yeah, it's a great weekend for the league. It really, really is. And these guys will be out there on Sunday, Saturday night, Monday, Wednesday. It's going to play every day of the week pretty soon.
Yeah, and I always feel like this is a good thing to have. And then once the draft's over, it's like one schedule release date. That's more important to me.
Well, there's you will get a little teaser tonight for when the schedule is going to be released from my sources on the inside. So
Okay.
tune in tonight to your NFL draft, and you may get another date to circle on your calendar, or you may not. I don't know. I will not confirm or deny that you may or may not get that information tonight.
Yeah.
Great, like you said, just great weekend, and it just shows the power of the NFL. Love it. I can't say enough about the NFL. Like, they leave nothing undone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no stone unturned.
I like to say this, that ever since I criticized the league when they left Radio City Music Hall, because I always feel New York was a perfect spot. How I have been proven wrong by the NFL that they could take the show anywhere. Doesn't matter if it's Chicago, Philadelphia, Dallas, Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Via Zoom meetings 1 year, Cleveland. It doesn't matter where. The NFL will find a way to knock it out of the park. And I'll say this: they did a good job. How when you're reporting it, how everything is in Green Bay. I feel this is more of a mature crowd. If you know what I mean?
Oh yes, absolutely.
I feel like the Chicago and Philly were just a rowdy crowd, anyways. And I was like, okay. And I want to see what's going to happen tonight when like the Bears are on the clock, when the Vikings are on the clock, or the Lions. And I always say this to everybody, every Packer fan, like, the Eagles and Packers is a decent rivalry. Like there's history. I want to see what the fans will do. Will they learn how to boo a certain team, or are they just going to do the nice Midwest? Nice to see you made your pick. We're going to beat you.
I mean, I've been repping the Phillies pullover today.
Yeah,
just because I wanted to kind of go like, buck the system a little bit away from it. And I've got a couple Go Phils. I've got a couple, Go Birds.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's just part and parcel for the course right now. But
yeah,
it's going to be interesting. Like I said, they're chatter. Oh, I see some fans, as now we've spoken them into existence.
Are they wearing? What are they wearing? Are they wearing a Jerry Rice jersey or a Joe Montana?
I have not seen the back yet, but it is definitely the old throwback red with the little stripes around the arms.
Okay.
Yeah, so if they come into view, I'll bring that up before we get going. But again, like, suck Green Bay for 2 seconds. Haven't drafted a wide receiver in the first round. 23 years since that's happened.
Is that Javon Walker?
I think it was Javon Walker.
Okay.
I believe it was Javon Walker. It is a. It's a throwback, maybe like a Ricky Waters jersey.
Ricky Water, Jesus, just too many Ricky Water jerseys coming out of the woodworks now these days.
That's what I was saying. Out of the woodworks. What's up with that? So now you know,
We
folks.
said this. I've said this in the pod many times. Like, all right, what's up with the Ricky Water jerseys coming out of the, you know what? Now, like I saw many when I was in LA for the Eagles Rams game. Now you just saw one. Like, is this like the New Jersey? Like, oh, it's vintage. I'm gonna wear this. You know,
It's the vintage Niner trend. That's
also
push
Eagle
to get him
trend
into
too.
the Hall of
Also,
Fame. Exactly.
always a Notre Dame fan is like, oh, I'll wear this. You know,
Saw throwback Montana Notre Dame jersey today.
that's typical. That's very Midwest.
Had to give him a little high five. It's one of those those acknowledgement high fives.
Yeah.
Kind of like
I would have said like, I'll give you a high five. You let me down though.
Yeah.
You should. I needed you to beat Ohio State, and you didn't do that. So you let the family, you let everybody else down in college football.
You let me down, man. You let me down. Oh my gosh. So yeah, man, it's getting busy.
Yeah.
Getting back to Green Bay and their draft prospects. People are one of two things. They're either taking somebody on defensive side in the back, cornerback, safety, who's ever available. But big push again from the fans, right? Who we were talking about earlier, like one a wide receiver, one a wide receiver, one a wide receiver, and it's just like, but what you want and like what the team really needs.
Yeah.
Like, can you get a wide receiver in the second round? Yeah, probably. Is it going to be as good as Golden or the kid from Mississippi State? Like, probably not. But if you can help that defense, which was just like horrendous against the pass last year,
you got to help find a way to help the pass.
Maybe that's where you need to go.
Like I always say this, like I would rather have a nice balanced defense.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a heavy run defense and have a horrible pass. Cool, then you're just college football now, you know? And I don't like that. I just don't like that. I was like, you need to have a balanced defense when you see like Vic Fangio did and like a few other defensive coordinators are doing. Like you got to be balanced. You can't be like super, super heavy. Like if you're super heavy on the pass, cool. How's that run defense? Like I always go by this.
Yeah.
Remember the 2013 Bears? They had like first year of Mark Trestman and just had a horrible defense because they were still running Lovie Smith concepts anyways. And they finally learned like we got to play a real defense anyways.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if you're a historic defensive players. You got to find a system and players that fit your system.
That's it. You've got to fit that. You've got to fit that system. Guys are willing to adapt. Guys are willing to learn and change and maybe not be in the perfect position all of the time. You know, like we see now that there's so much rotation, like in the NFL, right? A couple plays on, a couple plays off. This is a package, that package. This is the big leagues now, right? These guys got to come in and, this isn't, like you said, this isn't your 10-game season. This isn't your 12-game season.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is big boy stuff. And you're traveling, and you've got the money, and you've got all the people and the fans around you. Like, that's where you need to have all of your own personal draft picks in your life on the same page, looking out for you, making sure you're not going to spiral out of control. Because we've seen it. We've seen it many, many years. And it's wonderful microcosm of like the entire life experience, right? Put the hard work in, get to a point, you get rewarded. Here's your reward, you get drafted, here's your team. Now, what's your next step, right? This is basically like their
interview
athletic
process.
Yeah. This is like their athletic college commencement, right? It's like, okay, now you've graduated, but you graduated to this now, did your residency. Now you're a doctor. Now go be a doctor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, super duper.
Get your hours in, as I like to say.
Yeah, get your hours and get the rotation in.
Yeah. Like this rookie year is like always, like you said it. It's like residency. Get your hours. Yep. Do the right, make the right decisions.
Yeah.
Make sure you fall in line and just do the right thing anyways. So.
Yeah. The talent's going to come out, and you're going to be able to.
Talent will show. I want to see people's work ethic. That's what all these teams want to see.
Yeah, and that has sort of been the comeback. A little bit of momentum that's been going around the league, where we have a lot of talent. Teams have a lot of talent, but are you showing up?
Are you using it correctly?
Are you using it correctly? How? Let's be honest, right? Like, how good of an employee are you going to be for the team and the organization and the brand? And we want to talk about their stats all the time. Oh, he's got this. He can do that, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can have all the skills and all the talents in the world.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not willing to apply them and consistently hone those skills, that sheen's gonna wear off real quick, man, and it's
Yeah.
gonna go away. And I feel as if like there's a lot of people that we've seen come along and have been drafted, and specifically in this draft, you want to call them out. I think one of the reasons why like Sanders catches a lot of crap is because you know there's a lot of talk
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of athletic prowess and ability and success to back it up. However, in the same breath, you've walked off the field when your team's been losing.
Yeah.
You've played in pretty substantial games as a collegiate quarterback, and you've gotten smoked. Like, those are the things you need to answer. Now, listen, yes, you can answer them privately, you can answer them, to yourself, whatever. But when you step into the world of professional sports, now you're answering to a bigger audience,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you could be making a couple bucks over here. The university would be making a couple bucks over here. Now you've multiplied that times billions.
Yeah.
How are you going to be?
What are you going to do for this organization?
Yeah, like at what point, just like anything, any job you take, any relationship you're in, any organization you affiliate yourself with, at what point are you parallel to one another? At what point are you bringing each other, up and or down? And then at what point are you left behind?
Agree.
Or you've outgrown it. And we see a lot of times people stay and stay and stay in particular places because you know what? I can collect my check.
Mm-hmm.
I can live my best life the way I want to do. And even though it might not sit well with everyone on the outside, it sits well with them because that's all they wanted. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, all the eyes are looking, going like, dude, wasted talent, wasted talent, wasted talent, wasted talent.
Yeah.
I
True.
mean,
All
sit
very
around
true.
and look how amazing Larry Fitzgerald was in his career. Right? Now, put Larry Fitzgerald on a prominent team during his career. You talking potentially
One of the best wideouts of all time.
ever. Yeah, right. One of the best, no question. Same thing with Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, no shade to Detroit, but like
No shade to Matthew
those
Stafford too. Also.
no shade to Stafford whatsoever. But like, if you move them to other teams, like, oh my god. I mean,
Like
look
if
at
Larry Fitzgerald was a
1 year.
Philadelphia Eagle,
Right.
or Calvin Johnson was like a Dallas Cowboy, or like
Yeah.
pick a random team that's in
Yeah.
a big market that cares about football.
Exactly.
They'll be
I mean,
the
like, you're
biggest
right.
superstar of all time.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that for a second. Like, put Fitzgerald, put Calvin
Yeah.
on the Eagles during that run with Andy Reid, where you're winning how many,
12, 13
NFC
games a
championships in a row? Yeah, 12, 13 games a year. Like, now you've got a all-pro, Hall of Fame wide receiver to go along with that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Again,
Like-
organization, but they don't want to let go of him. He was
He was
content
happy.
there.
Like some people
He
were
was
just happy.
happy.
Like I'm happy to build my legacy in X market. Like
Right.
we never really cared about the Arizona Cardinals. When we think of the Arizona Cardinals out, it's Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
When you think of Detroit Lions, you thought of Barry Sanders. Gap,
Yeah.
then Calvin Johnson filled that.
That's right.
Like sometimes you have those players like I want to build my legacy here. I want to play for one team only.
And there's guaranteed to be one guy, maybe two guys out of this draft, either first round, second round, that will establish themselves as one of those guys,
Yeah.
a Hall of Fame player. We don't know where he's at yet. We don't know
A
when he's
pillar
going
in
to
the
come
league,
from. Yeah, right, a pillar of the league. There's all these guys we see the tape and the chalk on, like, yeah, that's the guy, that's the guy, that's the guy. But we have the expectation from them to perform to that level.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be that guy like Jason Kelsey that gets drafted, and he turns into one of the best centers all the time. There's going to be those guys that come out of nowhere and like, man, all right, you took a hold of this opportunity and you really delivered. And why did you deliver? Because you were committed. You went to a good organization. There was open communication. You did your job. You came through the way you're supposed to come through, and so did they. And when you have that all working in concert, just like you do in your life and everything else that's going on, you yield good results. But
Yeah.
you need to be aware of that going into it. And today is the day. We've done all that. We've done all the evaluations. We have all of the prognostications. And tonight, they'll be kicking it off, drafting away.
Yeah.
We're going to try to go live. At least I'm going to try to go live a little bit later.
Okay.
With our host extraordinaire, Angel.
Okay.
And maybe a couple of other guests from the media center once we go over there and get situated and settled in. We're going to take a respite now for the remainder of the afternoon, taking a little bit of the draft experience.
Take it all in.
Bring everybody a little more flavor of Green Bay. Maybe before
Definitely.
the lunch crowd gets here completely and takes away all of the cheese curd and the brats and the kielbasa. Which
Go get that food for real.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm like there's a like. Do I call it a brat? Do I call it kielbasa?
Call it a brat.
I think it's
Johnsonville
a brat, right? Like a
It's a
Johnsonville
brat.
brat, right? Yeah.
Johnsonville brat. Call it a
Yeah.
brat. If you get corrected, that's fine. Like, hey, I've always been told it's a brat.
Yeah. I feel like if I
always-
go off the clock for a second, I could get like a Leinenkugel, right? That's like a local
That is Wisconsinish. That is
Wisconsinish beer,
Wisconsin
yeah.
Polish. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good deal. So we'll report back on that later on tonight. But I want to thank Trevor Harris from the Upper Bowl Podcast for joining us. Trevor, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
At @THarris_18 on Twitter, on Twitter the most. Follow the Upper Bowl Podcast at the Upper Bowl Pod. We had my buddy Jake Riepma on this week from 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. We talked what's going on with the Stars and Avs as they won last night. We talked about Nico Harrison, and we talked a little about Knicks and Pistons because he's a Detroit guy and he's in Dallas. So we did not even touch on the draft, anyways. But me and Duncan Dad touched on the draft during the pod. Also, listen to last week's episode. I like to say Ralph Strangis, the old former Dallas Stars TV play-by-play and also LA Kings play-by-play voice, was on the pod. Probably my favorite interview I've done in a while. Great conversation we like to bring on the Upper Bowl Podcast. Am I right, Duncan Dad?
All right, man. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping in today. Trevor, as always, be good, be good.
Yes.
We'll see you later on tonight. Be sure to get on the socials. Follow Coastal Sports Network. SR1029 The Game. At the Duncan Dad. Instagram. Twitter. X. Whatever you want to call it. We'll see you later. Happy draft day, everybody.